Hello guys, and welcome to this video. This is a bit of a different video from my side compared to my normal day in a life video and vlogs, but I figured that hopefully I can help someone with this video. If you don't know me and if you haven't followed along here, I am Emma. I am 24 and I moved to Australia when I was 22 in 2023. That sounds so crazy, time flies. I moved here solo and hadn't really made that much of a plan, and I just figured it out as I went. And here are some of the things that I wish I knew before moving to Australia. Right, I think one of the questions I get the most also on my DMs on Instagram is probably, how is it making friends? Like, I'm thinking about moving to Australia solo like you, but I'm so worried I won't make any friends. For that question, don't worry about making friends. Everyone that I have been chatting to, they come back to me and they say, oh, you were right, like in the start it's a little bit tough, but once you get settled and you get to know people, then it's actually not that bad. You will definitely make friends. What I recommend is just put yourself out there. It is going to be uncomfortable and it is going to be a little bit stressful, especially if you're not used to that from back home, but you have to put yourself out there. You have to introduce yourself to people, you have to make things happen. You can't just sit around and wait for friends to come to you. What I do recommend is join some clubs. Like, there's a bunch of clubs in Australia, so whatever fits you and your hobbies, go and join a run club. There's a lot of run clubs all over in the different cities and towns, and that's a really good way to make friends. If you go to church on Sundays and meet some lovely people. And what I think helped me the most was going into a hostel and live to start off with. So when I came to Australia, I didn't move into a room straight away. I moved into a hostel, and this was a game changer for me because it was filled with people like me as well, that wanted to make friends and solo travelers. So those were my first friends here in Australia. And even though, so this was in Byron Bay, and I was lucky that it was like a long-term place for long-term people-ish. But if you are in a city like Sydney or Melbourne, I have had people tell me that they have met some of their really good friends in a hostel, because often people start out in a hostel, get a job and stuff before they settle down in a city. So that's definitely like such a big recommendation for me. And when you meet these people, say yes. I can't recommend that enough either. In general, like, just say yes and be open and mindful. And I was like, I've never been this social before in my life, but it's such a good way to get started and just to make those connections when you're all alone in a new city, in a new country. So say yes, be open to try new things with new people. A little bit of a warning, if you do come here in pairs, so if you do come here with a partner or a friend, I do really recommend staying open and also talking to people individually, because often when you come here and you're two, you can seem pretty closed off to other people even though you aren't, and then it's not as easy to start a conversation. So just be very mindful of that if you do travel in pairs, to be open and start conversations with people and still make that first contact. One thing I think I was a little bit surprised by was my first year in Australia, I did not really have any Australian friends. I don't know what I thought when I came, but I thought, oh, I'm gonna make Australian friends, but like, no girl. I have friends from all over the world now, and that is such a privilege, and I'm so lucky to have met so many wonderful people. But I was just not in a setting where I was meeting Australian people. I was in a hostel meeting international people. I was in Byron Bay, which is very like backpacker friendly, so not as many Aussies. And the thing is as well that I understand is that there's so many immigrants here, and there's so many backpackers and so many foreigners, and they, to say it a little bit harshly, they just can't be bothered. to get to know you, because you might leave in like 2 months anyway, so what's the point? So that sucks, of course, but it is not impossible. Like, I've made some amazing Australian friends here, but it does take time, and it is not as easy as making friends with international people and other backpackers, because when you're here as a backpacker, you come with the same purpose and you don't know anyone, and you have the same values, and you're in that part of your life, so it's so easy to get to know people. A moment in my life where I've made the most friends. I've never had that many friends as I've had here, so I've been so lucky.
Are we doing Coca Whip or not?
The other thing I get asked about a lot is job. Is it super difficult finding a job? Will I earn any money? How is it? Honestly, it really depends on where you go, when you go, and what you're looking for. As a backpacker, I think sometimes you have to lower expectations. There's definitely jobs in hospitality for us, and sometimes I meet people and they want to find a job within their degree, and it's just more difficult. Like, with working holiday visa, it's not as easy to get a job like that. It is possible, but not as possible, so just be aware of that. You will most likely end up with hospitality job, and that's also okay. Like, it's fun, you learn a lot, and you meet a lot of fun and nice people. Here in Australia, mostly it is more old school compared to what I know in Denmark, where you apply online. A lot of places here in Australia, you will have to print out a physical CV or resume and hand it out to every single spot you want to apply to. One thing that's so important here is your energy. There's a lot of backpackers and a lot of CVs and resumes that come in and out. Make yourself look presentable and have energy. Show that you want to be there and show that you want to have the job. For my first job, I didn't have any experience, but I still got the job, and I later got to know that was because of like my energy and eagerness to work there. And my second job, they weren't looking, but when I came, I said, hey, like, I know you're not looking, but I really love this place and I would love to work here for you guys, so if you have a job opening in like a month, still let me know, because I would love to come and be a part of this team. And then the manager, she was not the one talking to me to start off with, but she turned around and she just looked me in the eye and said, oh my gosh, I love that. And then the next day I was called to a trial shift and I got the job after that. So energy, guys, just show up with a smile and show that you want to be there. And that's another thing. Here we have trial shifts, and that's something I did not know of. It's not a thing in Denmark. You go to an interview and then you get the job. Here you go to a trial shift and you work for 1 to 3 hours, and they test you out, and maybe you, as a waitress, you get tables and you have to take orders and serve and everything, and then they kind of watch you, and then afterwards they say thank you so much, and then they will get back to you if you got the job or not. And it is nerve-wracking, but it is just how it is here, and you just gotta perform and you just gotta know your shit. And I guess that's their way of figuring out if they like you or not. Be aware of when you come and where you go. I started out in Byron Bay and I came just before high season, so I started applying in December, and that was a good time. Whereas people that are coming now in June, it is low season right now, so it's very difficult for people to find a job. So just check out the facts about the places you're going to. And if it's high season or not, so then you know what the probability of you getting a job is. One time I was at a place where it took me around a month to find a job. It was depressing. I just came at a wrong time. I came a little bit too early before high season, and for example here in Byron it took me 3 days. So sometimes it's about luck, sometimes it's about timing. It's all part of the deal, but talk to other backpackers, see what they recommend, how the job market is, maybe before you start thinking about applying in that place. Another thing that I think shocked me a little bit about working here in Australia is that I would not say always the work environment is the best. in Denmark I felt very valued, and I felt that I got a lot of good feedback on my job, whereas I feel like, and I could have just been unlucky, but it's something I hear in general, that managers and owners are very hard on us backpackers and can fire us like this because we are hired, a lot of us are hired on a casual contract, and we are just one of many. And that really sucks, but there are maybe 100 other CVs. So that has been really tough in my first job, just figuring out like, okay, wow, like, yeah, I can do a really good job, but it's not always that appreciated. And it is so easy to replace you like this. So be aware, show up on time, do a good job. Like, everything is not okay, but often it is hospitality, it is like that, but it's just in general, here in Australia, it's just so easy to replace you, and they know that. So be prepared for that as well. It really sucks, but that's just the name of the game.
Back in our room, and Laurita is home.
Another thing a lot of people are asking me about is, where can I live? And as I mentioned before, I would always recommend starting out in a hostel, even though you're not a hostel person. You get friends, you get to know the area, you might get a job before you find a proper place to live. But there are also a lot of other options. There's like website Flatmates, I think it's called, where you can look, and also a lot of Facebook groups. That is the main place. I think for the places I've lived in Port Douglas and Byron Bay, where there's Facebook groups for rooms and renting out apartments and studios, where it's very easy to write a little description about yourself and what you're looking for and sending it out in that group, and on the other hand also looking at other people's houses and rooms that they're renting out. So you can definitely find something there. I have gotten a lot of questions about like weather and wildlife, especially wildlife. I think a lot of people are like, oh, it's filled with snakes and spiders and sharks and crocodiles, and yeah, it kind of is, but I have not seen a lot. I think a lot of people see those videos of like snakes in the toilet and all of these things, and I wouldn't say it's not true. Like, it definitely does happen some places in Australia. It's huge, but in the areas I've lived, I haven't seen a lot. I have seen big spiders, I have seen big snakes, but it's not all the time I see them, and mostly it is safe. And I've lived up like close to the Daintree rainforest, where a lot of those critters are. It's totally like over exaggerated online, I would say. But for example, if you go and you move to Melbourne and Sydney, you're really not gonna see them that often. Regarding the weather, it is very nice weather here. Right now it is winter and it's still like blue skies and sunny outside today, like around 21 degrees, which is beautiful. What I also do have to say to people that are coming to Australia, be careful of the sun. Some people, they do not wear sunscreen when they first go out, and that is a mistake, guys. One of the first days here in Australia, I went for a little bit of a quick walk on the beach, and I thought, oh, it's gonna be fine, like it's not gonna be that crazy. Bam, like 40 minutes later, I was red as a lobster. I was so burnt, it hurt so much. And it's like, especially when your skin is not used to the Australian sun. So be careful, wear lots of sunscreen, like just do yourself that favor. You will get tan anyways, just wear sunscreen. Another thing I think I was not prepared for was how much it rains here. I live in Byron Bay and it rains a lot. At first I was like, oh wow, it's so green, how can it be so green? It's so nice weather all the time. And then I had a week worth of pouring rain, and I realized, okay, I understand why it's so green here now. Definitely depends on where you're living, but it does rain here, so like, pack a raincoat if you are going somewhere near this area. And also be prepared for wet season in certain areas. So Google up wet season if you're going up north, so like North Queensland for example, because you don't want to end up there in the wrong time. Well, it does get cold here, and as you live here you acclimatize to the weather. So even though it is 20 degrees now in winter here, you feel like it is cold sometimes. In the morning it's cold, in the evening it's cold, so I definitely wear long pants, I wear my jumpers, I wear a jacket sometimes, and especially also if you go down south. So if you're going in around winter time as well, don't just bring shorts and crop tops. Like you will need proper clothes and a proper jumper. So don't get fooled by all of the Instagram and TikTok content you see of sunny weather and bathers. Ah, now it's better? One thing I think is really, really beautiful about Australia is the lifestyle. The vibe is that you work to live, not live to work. It is so relaxed and there's just amazing people here. I know it can be very different from place to place, but in general the Australian lifestyle is very down to earth. What I find is also that people here, they wake up with the sun, so they really use the sun hours as much as possible. So they wake up for sunrise, they see the sunset, they're out and about and in the outdoors and in nature, and I think that's just beautiful. Very kind people. What I find in Australia is they don't seem as stressed, they seem so kind and always there to help. I've met so many nice Australian people and they always want to help you if there's anything. Like you can always post in a Facebook group and say, I'm having trouble with this and this. There would always be someone that would reach out and help you if you are in trouble with anything. Also, when my dad, he came to visit me here in Australia, that was also his impression. He was like, wow, the Australian people, they seem so kind and so happy as well. He was really, really impressed by the people here. Just really, really good people here. So yeah, Australia should be proud of that.
Let's go find a waterfall, hey?
Sad, tiny setup.
The last thing I wanna just touch base upon is some practical stuff about, for example, driving. When I came to Australia, I thought I would never get a car. And I did have a bike for like 1 year and I got to get used to the whole driving on the other side of the road and it was fine. But I would say it depends on where you're living. If you're in the big cities, it would be fine without a car, but other places it's really, really nice to have a car and it's really not that difficult. So if you want me to go more in depth on that, I can do that in another video, but I can definitely recommend getting a car here. You can find some really inexpensive, still good to use cars and it's really fine. Find them on Marketplace or a lot of the car websites, and as well some practical things about before coming and as you come into Australia. Just know and research about like which bank to get. You need to get a bank account started, you need to get your whole tax thing set up if you want to work, so you have to get a TFN and superannuation, which I can also go in depth on if you want more info about that in another video. But just Google these things before you come, just so you're prepared and you know what to do as you arrive, because you need to have these things settled and in order before you can get a job here. And my last word of advice would be just do it. A lot of the people that text me, they are like, oh, like I'm so nervous, I don't think I can do it, but you can. There's so many people that's done it, and just do it. You'll meet amazing people, see some amazing beautiful places and create memories for life, and you learn so much about yourself and grow up in a whole other way by doing this. And yeah, so I can just really, really recommend doing it. And you know, if you don't like it, there's always just an easy plane ticket back. It's not that complicated. Like, you can always go home. We live in an age where you can be home within 24 to 48 hours and then you're back home. So if you don't like it, you can always return home, but most likely you will like it. There's gonna be tough days and it's gonna be hard to start out with.
This is just a bit overwhelming right now, to be honest. Getting to know so many people and trying actively to make friends with people and getting to know a whole new place and figuring everything out. So yeah, I've been like, my mind have just been overworking the past couple of days. It's been fun, but also tough.
But once you've met those friends and you have settled down in a place, it is so worth it, and your lifestyle is just beautiful, and yeah, I cannot recommend it enough. So if you're thinking about doing it, do it. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope this helped some of you, as it did for me when I was sitting and watching these videos 1.5 years ago. This is my Instagram. If there's any other questions, just DM me. I'm more than happy to help. Please like, subscribe and comment. Helps me out a lot. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Mwah.